There is a gap when the defense just concentrates on legality, and holes encourage only when the discussion turns to patterns inside the show itself does that conjecture get more intense. Storylines are sculpted, altered, or just made up. This is not a novel concept. However, publicly imply that stories are false, it undermines everyone's trust. Viewers begin to assume that real-life explanations aren't entirely honest after they think the show isn't. And since every rejection is being handled like damage control, risky territory. Additionally, all explanations are handled like spin. It is nearly impossible for anyone to properly close a story in this setting. Silence itself becomes suspicious. Even confidence is called into doubt, because more than simply words are being heard by the audience. They are gauging intent, tempo, and tone. This is precisely the reason why Mendeecees' condition doesn't go unnoticed. Everything changes when he admits that his relationship status isn't what the audience initially believed. It reopens preconceived notions rather than proving anything. Timelines are questioned. Motivations are re-examined. In retrospect, past encounters suddenly seem different. At that point, Tamar takes a bold but reactive as well. She leans into the conversation rather than letting it dissipate. She reinterprets criticism as a chance. She transforms accusations into quantities in dollars. Additionally, it appears confident at first glance, as if someone is dismissing it. However, confidence typically doesn't need an explanation. It indicates that the insults were significant when someone can recall each one with enough clarity to place a price on it. It implies that they touched down. Confidence combined with annoyance produces cacophony rather than clarity. The one guy at the center of the storm gets oxygen from that cacophony. Geneva is funky, because Funky is now more than just someone who spread a rumor. He was the one who wouldn't back down. After being pushed back, he didn't let go. He didn't make it softer. He didn't back down. He went twice as hard. And that alters how the assertion is perceived. Repetition doesn't make something true, but it makes it more difficult to ignore, particularly when it incorporates particular experiences, imagery, and a story that explains behavior, instead to merely making accusations. Denial gets more difficult to uphold after that. At this time, Mendeecees' response turns into a pivotal moment. He responds personally to the accusation rather than emotionally separating himself from it. He makes it clear that he wants a fight, face to face, not through declarations or explanations. This is important because rumors become more than just gossip when they are presented as something that needs to be addressed face to face. It turns into pride. It turns into an ego. On a human level, it starts to feel unresolved. Additionally, logic typically concludes that once ego enters the room, nobody is truly triumphing. The narrative is sustained by each thing. The narrative is sustained by each response. Every explanation creates a fresh perspective. The audience feels the pressure that comes with each denial. They have a feeling that something is off. The emotions don't seem proportionate, not necessarily because something unlawful occurred. Either too much or not enough is being done by people. Additionally, viewers begin to fill in the spaces on their own when responses don't match the circumstances. That's the actual hazard in this situation. Because proving what happened is no longer the goal of this. It's about who can maintain their composure while everyone else keeps talking. Who can control perspective, and who can survive the story. At this moment, one thing is evident. Facts are not the reason this narrative is getting worse. Nobody appears to be able or willing to let it end, which is why it's becoming worse. By now, the situation's energy has shifted from being reactive to being calculated. Not in a conspiratorial manner, but rather in a method of self-preservation. It appears that everyone is aware that words are more than just words. Leverage is what they are. Additionally, when leverage is involved, people begin to speak cautiously instead of openly. Language becomes the actual proof in this situation. Listen to the avoidance of certainty. How deadlines are left open-ended. How clean anchored sentences are replaced with terms like technically or at that point. These are not coincidental options. Saying nothing happened is definitive. Thus, these are the phrases people choose when they want flexibility in the future. However, allowing me to do as I choose maintains flexibility. Even if they are unable to express it, viewers see the difference right away. They perceive it as hesitancy, defensiveness, or an unresolved issue. That's why timing becomes such a crucial issue. It reveals ambiguity rather than proving guilt. If everything were evident, there's no need to describe freedom. Instead of being philosophical, the explanation would be factual. The fact that there is no emotional distance associated with the denial adds to the tension. It is irritating. The K and how denial lands is altered by irritation. Calm denial gives comfort. Eyebrows are raised by irritated denial. The more confrontational the conversation becomes, the more irritated that person becomes. Because I want to see you about it, and that's not true, are two different things. One is about the truth. Pride is the subject of the other. When someone indicates that they would prefer a face-to-face meeting over a rumor, it indicates that the matter has progressed beyond the facts to include respect, reputation, and who feels publicly challenged. And once that boundary is passed, the focus shifts from what transpired to who embarrassed whom. This is why it feels more weighty than a normal gossip cycle. The audience's role is another layer that is subtly developing at the same time. Because viewers who already have doubts about reality television in general are judging this situation in real time. In addition to the individuals involved, audiences lose faith in clear explanations when they think plots are controlled. They believe that there is always a version that they are not exposed to. Therefore, even when someone speaks clearly, it doesn't clearly. When cast members themselves imply that storylines are fictitious or fabricated, this distrust is strengthened. Once the concept is presented, it quickly gains traction because it confirms viewers' pre-existing suspicions, which are not limited to the program. It permeates relationships, off-camera moments, real life and social interactions that were never intended to be made public. That's precisely why tales like this one spread, not because they've been verified, but because they seem credible in a setting where legitimacy is already questioned. And there is the matter of perseverance. The accusation itself isn't one of the more disturbing aspects of this whole issue. Things is the inability to let things go. When people are forced to choose between two unpalatable conclusions, when someone makes the same claim in spite of opposition, rejection, and backlash, the audience is divided by whether the speaker is lying carelessly or whether they firmly believe what they are saying. While some see cloud chasing, others see courage. Some see the truth attempting to emerge. Others witness the creation of chaos. However, neutrality is no longer seen. Additionally, neutrality is important, because once it's gone, every response is interpreted with prejudice. This is the point at which the notion that the streets were already chatting becomes extremely risky, because the rumor now has several purported sources. It is no longer one individual's word. It's a mist of murmurs. It is more difficult to pursue clouds than a single voice. Even if those rumors are ambiguous, unconfirmed, and meticulously stated as claimed, they acquire shape through repetition. And once they take shape, denial must put up a stronger fight. Attempts to regain control may potentially backfire because of this. Redefining insults as empowerment, making money off of blowback, and turning criticism into humor. In addition to conveying confidence, the actions also indicate participation. Additionally, participation keeps this tale alive. People typically don't react to anything at all if it really doesn't matter. As a result, viewers begin to think that something is at stake when assertions, explanations, clarifications, and side remarks continue to be made. Consequences, not necessarily guilt. And everyone seems to be terrified of the consequences. Some people have reputational repercussions. For others, it's pertinent. Others find it embarrassing. For others, it can just mean losing control over how they are perceived. The responses feel inconsistent because of this. Others people talk too little, others talk too much, some talk past the problem, and some talk around it. And each strategy produces its own personal suspicion. This is made even more combustible by the confrontation angle, which implies that words alone are no longer sufficient. It implies that someone feels mistreated in a way that cannot be resolved by public explanation. The internet leans in at that point. Instead of asking what happened, viewers now ask what will happen. Will someone answer? Is someone going to escalate? Will someone make a mistake? Is it possible for someone to contradict themselves? The cycle is fueled by this expectation. Silence turns into a tactic. Pauses turn sinister. Every holdup is seen as preparedness. The knowledge that once the next reaction is given, it cannot be undone hangs over everything. Because at this point, the narrative is not brittle. It's loaded. Every new comment has the potential to either diffuse or intensify tension. Diffusion doesn't seem to be anyone's top priority. Based on how passionately committed everyone already seems, the remarkable thing is that none of this truly needs evidence to maintain proceeding. The fuel is a reaction, not proof. The way people choose to react under duress is the fuel. And pressure only accomplishes one thing consistently. It makes cracks visible. Cracks of guilt are not always present. Fear of being misinterpreted, fear of being judged, and worry of looking foolish can all occur at times. However, once fissures emerge, viewers begin to pay closer attention to those fissures than to the initial accusation. They keep an ear out for discrepancies and tone shifts. Every time someone sounds less certain than before, the narrative is revitalized. One denial or explanation is obviously insufficient to address this matter at this point. It's too entangled. Too many individuals are emotionally invested. There are too many conflicting narratives. And that's why this stage is so risky. Because when a narrative, the next development doesn't have to be dramatic to feel explosive once it reaches this phase. All it needs to do is feel different. A different word choice, a different tone, a distinct emotional intensity. Everyone will then hurry to reinterpret everything that came before it. This implies that this is no longer merely about the past. Who loses control next is the key. Nobody can currently prove what's causing the tension. It's what no one appears to be able to release. Facts alone are no longer sufficient to put the subject back in the box since it has gone too far. Because truth is no longer the only problem. It's control, pride, and perception. One thing is becoming more and more obvious. Everyone concerned is responding not simply to the rumor per se, but also to how they perceive themselves as a result of it. Additionally, clarity typically suffers when image takes precedence. That change in the way explanations are presented is noticeable. There is positioning in place of clear solutions. Emotional signaling is used in place of grounding words. People are managing, not merely confirming or denying. Denial looks quasi. Tone begins to be more important than the content. It's not the same as saying nothing happened when someone claims it's being discussed. It's a vaguer. It's more secure. Avoids becoming too precise, and while being vague may seem protective at the time, it also allows for interpretation. And the internet relies heavily on interpretation. The more this goes on, the more it resembles a public chess match. Every word is an action. Each pause is a signal. Every response is examined closely. Furthermore, the audience is not awaiting confirmation. They are anticipating an error. Because facts rarely reveal people in such circumstances. Inconsistency exposes them. Because of this, the topic of why someone would vehemently deny anything continues coming up. Not because denial is inherently suspect, but rather because of the manner in which it is expressed. The edge, the defensiveness, is expressed. I don't know. You have absolutely no idea what that is. The space doesn't blow up. It gets tighter. When someone hears a name and their expression changes before the words do, there's a certain kind of stillness that occurs. The type where the atmosphere feels heavier, as if the microphone had detected a heartbeat it wasn't meant to. Furthermore, it's no longer merely a hearsay at this point. People do when they feel trapped by a story. They didn't write, but are now unable of the transcript's framing. This isn't a courteous argument. Under the garb of interest, it's a warning. It's the phrase that appears to be a live wire. Mendeecees wants to go outside and meet quirky Denva. Although the language is informal, viewers immediately pick up on the strong suggestion. It's a clue that something is cooking behind the scenes, not a joke or a throwaway. Simultaneously, another fire is raging in a separate area of the legal internet. Ashley Darby makes a statement, but it's not an apology or an explanation for the social norms that many claim she violated. Rather, it's a clear declaration about something quite different. Thankfully, I am an adult who gives consent, who exclusively interacts with other consenting adults. And it's okay if we want to delve into the specifics of it. However, it's consenting when an adult gives consent to another consenting adult. Adult to consenting adult indefinitely. And that's when the tension changes, because during a scandal, people dispute not just about what transpired, but also about its implications. Was it just sloppy or was it illegal? Did someone simply violate a code? Or did they breach the law? Additionally, the transcript repeatedly circles that awkward question as if it's attempting to arrive in a safe place. But that cannot be sustained because it has never happened and never will. All right? Who declared that she violated the law? Has anyone mentioned that she violated the law? If anything, you were accused of breaking the girl code. Perhaps friend code stated that she violated the law. If anything, you were accused of breaking the girl code. As a result, there are currently two ongoing controversies. One that seems to linger in the air like a threat, and another that seems like a defense designed specifically for the reunion sofa. And in the midst of it all, the internet does what it always does. Chooses sides, alters chronologies, and purportedly into assurance in the remarks. However, the rumor itself isn't the most terrifying aspect. Single quotations are used. The transcript suggests that the story didn't begin when Funky said it aloud, since the narrator claims that since the streets were already chatting, the situation no longer feels like gossip, but rather like a file that has been open for some time. And if that's the case and people were already gossiping before to the video, then the genuine question is, why are they all making such an effort to refute? And why does it seem like someone is prepared to deal with it outside? It's not by coincidence that this situation feels chaotic, feels staged by human behavior, motivated by something far more predictable rather being scripted or planned. Ego, significance, and the anxiety of losing narrative control. The fact that so many individuals are speaking while so few are truly stating the same thing is immediately noticeable. Everyone is answering. Everyone is elucidating, however. No one is arriving at the same location. The truth does not vanish when that occurs. It is overshadowed by performance. Here, timing is one of the most significant